So this is Dakota Fun Facts. I'm shooting for 100 bits of interesting information that you may or may not have known about me. Certainly nobody knows the whole story. I had alluded to, no, I had spoken directly about how when a client comes to a therapist, the greatest value of that interaction and that therapy is the therapeutic rapport, and that a lot of my clients came to me because they recognized in me that I had been through some of the same things that they've been through: depression, anxiety, addiction, anger, relationship issues, these kinds of things. I had a very, very odd and interesting and really maladjusted upbringing in a lot of ways. And one bit of information that I will share with you is that my low estimation about how many times I was arrested is about 40. And here's how I do the math. Starting with my first arrest at 10 years old in Mexico. We lived in Mexico, and at 10 years old, I was far mature for my age and in a lot of different ways, including that's when I started to drink. So that was the first time I got arrested, and I figured that by the time I joined the Army at 17, I had at least accrued 10. I think that's a pretty low estimation. Then in the Army itself, at least 10. Now these are all kind of picayune, drug-related, alcohol-related, violence-related charges. I mean, violence towards adult men trying to pound on each other, not towards any kind of victim other than our own drunken stupidity. So then I got out of the military and thought that bikers just really seem like my kind of people. You know, you can feel outlaw, you can discuss the citizenry, you can boss women around and treat them really poorly, which was a real big problem of mine. And I'm glad I got over that, by the way. Well, for the most part, by the way. And so, you know, it's kind of like, yar har har, a biker's life for me. So I got in with people wearing patches on their backs. And from there, you know, it was the next, I don't know, what, 24 years? No, I got out of the military at 19, so it was the next 21 years of, you know, a variety of drug arrests and drunk drivings. I amassed 6 drunk drivings by the time I got sober at 38. And yeah, there's just a whole bunch of stories. Within those stories, of course, you don't get arrested 40 times without amassing some pretty decent stories. And so maybe someday in the future we'll talk about those. So now I will point out that that was the guy I used to be, Mike. Dakota has never been arrested, nor do I think that I ever will be arrested, whereas Mike, well, he was on kind of a revolving door in and out of jail. Now, of all of those arrests, I will say that very, very few were convictions. Now, along the way, there were other interesting things that I'll just add that, for example, I had 2 drunk driving arrests as a youth, and then 3, on my 3rd as an adult, I was in the Santa Barbara County Courthouse, and they convicted me to do 6 months in the Santa Barbara County Jail, and I said, sure, I'll do that, and then went and put everything I could into Army duffel bag, strapped it onto my KZ 650, and then rode from Santa Barbara to upstate New York. And they didn't see me for several years, but I eventually had to do that time to get that taken care of and behind me. So lots of stories to come. Thanks for listening.